So with larger roster sizes this year, Coach, how have you and your staff been able to handle that so far this season?
We're really trying to, the first priority is making sure we can meet the needs of all of our student athletes. And we're used to having large teams. Obviously, this is the largest in my 30 years here. And so I think one of the things that we're really going to utilize that our time slots really wisely in terms of being able to break the training days down, so that in terms of those who need to get on the track will have that track time in that space and time, and those from a field event standpoint who needs to get down a runway, obviously in a ring or high jump, pole vault. We're spreading things out a little bit from that standpoint, but we still will make sure that every single day we meet collectively. That's been my number one priority, is to make sure that our track and field program is a team, a family, and not an individual sport. So we still will make sure that every single day we have a set meeting time. Even though pole vault may go early at 2 o'clock, we'll make it where at 4 o'clock we're all a meeting. Hurdlers may go early at 3 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but at 4 o'clock we'll have our team meeting. So that's one of the things. So we're going to utilize our early slot of training time, but then still make sure that the meeting time stays the same.
You had your alumni meet on Saturday. What did you see from your team that excites you for the season?
Well, first of all, we're young. We have a lot of young numbers, and so we're excited about the youth of the program. We always say we never want to be in a rebuilding state. We just want to reload, and so we're blessed to have a number of seniors and also a number of fifth-year seniors where this freshman class can learn from. And that's to me, that's been the exciting thing about, maybe having a fifth-year senior around, is just that maturity and what they can learn, what the freshmen can learn, and don't have to necessarily feel like they have to be able to be prepared and ready to go right away. Some will be. We were able to see that on Saturday, that we have some pretty talented freshmen who are who's going to be ready to go. But then some we can, also be patient with and not rush them. We never want to rush, a first-year student athlete. That's where frustration comes in at, and we want to be patient with them and mindful of understanding that they're still a first year, So, but we have some talented youth across the board, in I would say every single event area, both men and women. So.
You mentioned your fifth years kind of stepping up into that leadership. How have you seen them grow as leaders in their time here?
Well, we're truly getting a chance to see what a red shirt looks like their fifth year, right? And I wouldn't just say physically, but also just the mental piece, the maturity piece, spiritual piece. I mean, all of it encompassing. You can see the difference of a fifth year. A true fifth year student athlete who's really invested, into the program, and so obviously we've been able to see it across the board for years. Division I, Division II programs has been redshirting, and you saw that maturity of a fifth year versus a fourth year senior, and now in Division III we're actually able to see that as well. Yeah.
You have a few Division I meets on your schedule, kind of elite meets, if you will. What do you look for out of your athletes at those events?
Well, first of all, we have those type of athletes here, and that's the first thing that we have to know. We have Division I athletes that has always been a part of our tradition and our program here, and so we want to extend them and give them the opportunity to be stretched, all right, but also give them the opportunity to have some success too at that level, right? And so, we're really blessed at Wartburg to have a administration and president and Board of Regents who want our student athletes to, not have their growth stunted and have those opportunities as well. And so we're excited because it puts them in a position of saying, okay, I still have those great opportunities at Wartburg to compete against the very best. For us, we like to say when they're ready to do that. And so, yes, we're excited about those kind of elite meets, big meets, and see how our student athletes handle those environments.
I know the season's still really young, but what's your outlook on the ARC this year from a competitive standpoint?
You know what, I'll put my name on this. Our American Rivers Conference is, in my opinion, one of the best in the country, hands down. All right, and you can go back and people can go and do their research, but I'm going to say we got one of the best top 3 conferences in the country every single year at the national championships. And so I'm very proud to be a part of this conference now for 30 years. This is year 30 for me, and it seems like every year it just gets harder and harder, to be our conference in our conference with really elite athletes. And so I am looking forward. This will be our first, since Nebraska Western entered the conference, this will be our first time going over to Lincoln and competing outdoor season, at the Outdoor Conference Championships. So we're excited about that. That'd be new for our student athletes. Obviously, it won't be a trip in which we can leave the day before that we've always had, but different environment, different opportunity for our student athletes. So we're looking forward to that. Indoors, Dubuque is hosting it with their new coach, and they always do a good job. But, we have a really talented conference, and the number of athletes that our conference have represented at a national meet is really a large number every single season. So I'm proud to be a part of the American Rivers Conference for sure.
I believe new this year is some compliance guidelines of more dates or more contact. If you can just tell us a little about how has that changed, how you prep for the season, or maybe your day-to-day?
Well, the day-to-day changed because it allowed us to have more opportunities. What I would say is to have hands-on mentoring opportunities to be with our student athletes in the fall. And I'm not talking about necessarily from a performance standpoint, but just, it's kind of hard. You bring student athletes in, and then as coaches, we can't have any contact with them until the end of November, and then now they go home for break, and then they come back. And I believe it's been it's really been impactful from just a mentoring and relationship, because every program is different, but we didn't go 4 or 5 consecutive days. We spread that out, and we wanted to be really wise at how we utilize that time with our student athletes. But it was more time just to be able to be together, and I would say it really significantly made a huge impact also, just from the academic side of things, because now we can see them every day, right? And so when you can see them, right, every day, and it changed the way I was on the road recruiting, because I knew every Monday we were going to have a training day. And so you could start the week off as coaches being with them on Monday, talking about, some of those things. How's that class going? How are you doing? Even from our first year freshmen, those first 2 to 3 weeks of them being on campus, or when midterms was around the corner, and the look on their faces of nervousness or worry, to reassure. That following Monday, how did it go? And they're like, yes, it went great. Those type of things to me, as I have, obviously get older, I once was the youngest coach in this building at this institution, and I remind Coach Paith that he's still older than me, but I'm the longest tenured head coach here now, and but as you get older, you really start valuing more of the relationship building time with kids, not just the X's and O's or the technique work, but just the relationship. And to be honest with you, I think in this generation today, they need more time. to necessarily just to be able to sit or stand next to a coach and talk about life, not necessarily about competing, and you learn a lot in those settings. To me, those settings at times are so much more valuable than is a technique setting. Is because you learn a lot about those young souls, So that's the part that, as I get older, I enjoy more and more.
As you switch to kind of, the meat of or bulk of your schedule, not meat, with your home meet Saturday, does that change your day-to-day? Or, okay, now we're in competition mode, or kind of those relationship building, does that still continue throughout the year?
The relationship building still continues. So, like, one of the things that we've changed is every Wednesday we start practice off with some type of team bonding format. And so we feel like taking 15 to 30 minutes to do that is just as important as 15 to 30 minutes to warm up or do technique work, right? And so let's do some things together every Wednesday. And each coach is going to lead a different series, right? So we're excited about that. We started that last year. It worked out great. And there was more relationships that was able to be built because of that 15, 20, 30 minutes. We give ourselves about 30 minutes to get through it. So that will, we'll continue with that from a year ago. In terms of the schedule itself, we're Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday, depending on if we keep competing on Friday. And our heavy volume days, for the distance side, is on Tuesdays. Sprint hurdle side is on Mondays, and Wednesdays are more of a technique day, and we're going to look at Thursdays more of a recovery day. We want to try to retain our student athletes, and we have a 4 indoor season and 4 outdoor season. Friday is going to be pre-meet, and competitions is either on Saturdays or Saturdays. So that may be backed up one day, depending on if we compete on Friday. We had this past week was camp. Our student athletes get a chance to come in a little bit early before classes started today. That camp it's valuable for us because there's no classes, there's no stress, there's no work. And to be honest with you, pretty much all of them are ready to get back home, get back here to their second home anyway. It's interesting to hear how many freshmen was like, I couldn't wait to get back. You feel good about that when you hear that, right? Because I even said that you made the right choice, and they're like, yes, I couldn't wait to get back, right? But we had a good camp. They came in back on Wednesday afternoon, and we went clear up until Saturdays. Our alumni inter-squad meet, and then they had yesterday, Sunday off, and now we in a regular meet week routine now. And so we are excited. It's what we told them, we're in season now. And now we got to shift in those gears of competing at a high level. We don't expect that to happen overnight. We're going to take one day at a time and move in that direction. But we have some talent. We do. And we have some passionate kids. We do. I started this about 5 years ago during camp. We have what we call Venus versus Mars. The book, Venus versus Mars. And the men and women compete against each other in competitions. And it gets impactful. I mean, it gets,
the musical chairs video.
Musical chairs. I mean, they get after it, man. They are. That's probably one of the ones. The musical chairs is one that get kind of physical, And so we have a finale at the end. It's air band, and so they have a finale where they do this. They have to pick some type of musical skit, right? And they all have to have a hand in it. And so I can share with everyone it was tied going in to the finale, and the women end up winning the overall Venus versus Mars. And so they lost last year. The men won. But yeah, they play volleyball against each other because we got a lot of past women volleyball players, high school really good volleyball players, and they one this year was new, was a Rubik's Cube. And so everybody knows, like on the team, women's team, like who, because they didn't know what it was. And I poured the Rivers Cube out, and they just were all called one name on both the men and women's. You know, of course, all of them are physics majors, right? And I'm telling you all, that was impressive. I mean, it was like, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, the men won that one. You know, we do a big puzzle. They had to build a puzzle. We do matching. Just things to get them going, and then they always have to shake hands afterwards. They always gotta, you know, and then the last one also was just our school song, you know, and so we both men and women have to sing it, and then the winner of that, and then we come together and we sang it together, you know. So yeah, that camp is what really gets us excited and get them excited about being back and ready for the season, and takes the stress out for competing too. Yeah, so yeah. Okay.
Good luck this
All right. Thank you.